Hi guys, I'm Turtle.
And I'm Bear. And this is Old Souls Travel. And today we're going to do our first video ever. We're going to go through our top 20 of our bucket list.
No, it's 22.
22?
Yeah, it's 22. We got all these ties. So one thing about being a father's son who are into anthropology and archaeology and been traveling the world since you were 4 years old now, we do have some things in common on our top bucket list. I have 186 things on my bucket list, and he has like 225 or so. It might be 250 now. He keeps adding things onto it. But we do have some things in common, so there's a lot of ties in here. There's at least 3 ties in our top 2022. But we are launching it in 2022. So
yeah, works perfect.
There you go. And we got some really cool stuff. This is Chichen Itza.
Yeah. And our top 20 has a lot of different things. We got some archaeological stuff, we got some nature stuff, we got some safaris, you're gonna see some historical monuments, a couple of other different things, but it's I'm really excited to show this video and to one day actually go to these places. We've been to a couple of them, but there's a few that we haven't gone to yet.
We'll show you little checkoffs on the ones that we've done. We'll throw a little thing up on there, or if it's planned. We're actually going to be traveling all the way around the world in the next 5 years to over 85 countries. So if it's already on a schedule, we'll put like scheduled or something like that, some lame pop-up. But we'll get the checks. The checks are really the important part.
Yep.
We've got a few of them that are checked off. We've got a really high one that I checked off without your ass. So that was good.
Yep.
We'll get them to it though.
We'll make up for it. Yeah, we'll make up for it.
It'll be check scheduled because we do have it scheduled. I can't really do that to him. You'll see. I don't want to steal the thunder. Guys, because all the women are clothed and all the men are naked. On these like perpendicular angles here, and they'd be east-west.
Chichen Itza was awesome. We got to see a little glimpse of it the first time, but the second time we really got a good look at it and all the other buildings, and it was really awesome. It totally lived up to making that top 20.
Absolutely. The one thing that I took away most was Chichen Vieja, and we got to go over there this time. We didn't get to go last time, and I liked seeing the stuff that was contemporary with the things that I studied. I like to see the Puch architecture this time, which is really amazing, and it has all these really ornate designs, and the chalk, which was the rain god during that period of time. Also, I thought it was really interesting that chalk used to be kind of like a superior god to Quetzalcoatl or Kukulkan, but when the Toltecs came over and their king presented himself as Kukulkan, he became the rain god and then the creator god, and it really starts to shape in the late classic to the post-classic period. And I like to see the way that morphed, and it's one of the 7 new wonders of the world, and we actually have 5 of those. What was your favorite part?
So my favorite part, first of all, was that we went at a time where there were not nearly as many crowds. Also, all the people who bombard you with trying to buy their stuff, they weren't there, which definitely made it a lot better. I also like that we didn't have the same time constraint as we did when we were on the cruise.
Right, cruises are good for getting to know a place a little bit.
Right.
But this was much better. We had a lot better time, and it was a little cooler.
Right.
Yeah, December's better than September.
It's a little bit.
Yucatan.
It still was really hot.
It was still really hot, yes it was.
But yeah, no, having that time allowed us to go and see a lot of the cool buildings that you were talking about. I think my favorite was probably the Caracol. It was just cool to see how they had such great astronomical knowledge even back then. And I think that's amazing. Also, just like the shape of the observatory just looks so different than the temples, and that was just really cool to me.
Right, and it was our second time, so our number 20C or 22 is a double check. And if we go back, that'll be cool. I don't feel like I absolutely have to anymore, so we can move on to something new. And speaking of moving on to something new, number 20B is Jerusalem. And I know you're really looking forward to this. I'm really looking forward to this. Jerusalem. Again, we're at one of these like really historical places. We got a lot of historical places.
Right.
We'll have some nature worked in there, and we'll have some culture and things like that. This one actually really is very cultural. As a matter of fact, it was conquered like 40 times by different religions and peoples and things like that.
Wow.
And all of
40
them,
times?
40 times.
That's crazy.
Over 40 times. And each time they brought in their own kind of influence into the area,
right.
And it's actually a pilgrimage spot for all three of the Abrahamic religions. So Christianity, the Muslims, and the Jewish people themselves. And I think that melding is something that makes it worthy of being almost on anybody's bucket list.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. It reminds me kind of when we were in Spain. You know, they had a lot of different religions kind of coming together like that. But Israel is just so much bigger and has so much more history. It's going to be amazing to see that. I was reading that at the Wailing Wall, they put in over 1 million prayers every year.
Wow, you'd think it would be growing. I wonder what they do with, if anybody knows what they do with all the prayers, because I'm sure you're not going to have room to stuff them in there after there's been millions for hundreds or thousands of years.
Oh yeah, they got to do
Must be
something
something
with
that
it.
they do with it. Hopefully it's not just like throw them away. I assume that they're probably more sacred,
Yeah, probably,
treated
right.
than that. But the Wailing Wall I'm looking forward to very much. And I'm very much looking forward to the mosque. And that was important because it was the original temple, and it's built on top of things that are sacred to both religions.
Right.
And there's even a third religion there. And there's some cool stuff there about Jesus for the Christians too.
Yeah, speaking of that, so there's this place called the Mount of Olives, and I will excuse it for having a terrible, disgusting name.
The olive trees are really old though, so they've been producing foul fruit for...
Oh, lovely. They're long-lasting poison producers.
Yeah, no, they make really good oil.
Yeah, olive oil's great.
Yeah.
Love olive oil. Olives, not so much.
Yeah.
Anyways, the Mount of Olive is actually said to be where Jesus ascended to heaven.
Right.
That's really important to Christianity, and that's going to be really cool to see.
Right, it's also actually the oldest active burial grounds in the world. The
Wow.
entire world.
That's amazing.
Still used to this day. So we're finally to our actual kind of top 20, because we promised you a top 20, we're giving you a top 22. Then we head over to Fiji, and Fiji looks amazing just for all of the traditional reasons that Fiji looks amazing, but there's also some really cool stuff there that I know you're excited about.
Yeah, so like you said, Fiji just looks beautiful. It looks like paradise. But there's also really cool historical and cultural significance, right? Most of the people there are actually fluent in 3 different languages, right? So there's Fijian, which makes sense. English, because it's a tourist destination and tourism.
It was a British territory, like
Right.
half the world.
Yep, absolutely. And they also speak a dialect of Hindu. It's like Fijian Hindu,
Okay.
which is really cool because there's a lot of people from India that go there.
Usually when the British go there,
yeah,
they brought over
exactly.
the Indians, right?
So there's a lot of Indian people there, and you know, Indian people means Indian food, and I love Indian food.
And then you add it to island food.
Oh yeah, we got a little bit of Indian food, a little bit of island food, a little bit of like a hybrid.
Right.
Oh dude, it sounds amazing. My mouth is watering just thinking about it.
Yeah, you throw a pig in these Lovo pits, but the one thing that people don't like think about a lot with Fiji is that the things in the Lovo pits used to maybe be human. So there was cannibalism there. Moderately recently, they had some missionaries, I think in the 1800s, that were the last victims of it, and as their martyrdom or whatever brought Christianity to at least some point of influence there.
Right.
They stopped eating people, which I'm glad for because
Yeah, me too.
I'm looking forward to the food, but I really want to get out into some of the outer islands because everybody goes to the two main islands.
Right.
And there's some epic surfing.
Nice.
The snorkeling is supposed to be out of this world. And the people are supposed to be just beautiful and nice, and yeah, it's going to be a really nice place to go. Little quick travel hack. It actually, from the east coast of the United States, it costs the same to fly just to Fiji most of the time as it does to fly to Hawaii and then fly to Fiji. So you can kind of like double dip a little bit. That's probably what we'll do, although it is not scheduled.
No, not yet.
Yeah, but we got the next one scheduled, and it's going to be just as beautiful and just as beach-oriented, I suppose. We're off to number 19, finally under the little 20 tie, and we have 2 more ties, by the way, as we go along. I think they're like number 9 and number 11.
Right.
Our next place that we're headed off to, I know is very exciting to you. We are headed to Santorini.
Santorini looks incredible, right? I mean, people love Santorini. It's one of the most visited places for like expensive honeymoons. And that's largely because of what it looks like, you know?
Yeah, Instagram destination numero uno.
Absolutely. It's just a bunch of beautiful white churches with blue roofs, and the ocean looks amazing, and there's places where you can watch the sunset, and there's volcanoes. It's incredible.
And the volcanoes are really amazing because did you know that that was kind of like Pompeii before Pompeii?
No, I
so
didn't.
There's this archaeological site called Akrotiri there, and it's from the Minoan civilization. So you're looking at least 100 to maybe 1100 years before Pompeii. The volcano, and they're all volcanoes out there on the Greek island, blew up and buried this even more ancient and preserved paintings like we had in Herculaneum and Pompeii.
Oh, awesome.
So I'm really looking forward to that, and then my wife's gonna come because you can't go there.
Of course.
We're gonna be in Greece in a few weeks.
Yeah, we are.
But we're not going to Santorini.
Not going to Santorini.
Because Caitlin and Victoria would scalp us. So, and I don't want to be scalped.
Yeah, they probably would.
You know, I've just gotten allowed to grow my hair back out, but no scalping for me. But Santorini does look amazing.
Absolutely. I can't wait to go to Santorini, and being with Caitlin and you being with Victoria, just gonna make it that much better.
I'm looking forward to seeing that. It is scheduled, so, and we scheduled that at a time where we could take the girls.
Right.
I'm sure that's going to make them really happy. And then we're even going to pop over to Turkey to do some cool stuff too. And our next place that we're headed on our countdown, as we get closer to the top, is one that is really expensive. It's another one that's not scheduled. It is the Serengeti, or the greater Serengeti area.
Right, so the Serengeti looks amazing. I mean, obviously, wildlife. They got lions there, they got zebras there, they got hippos there, they got giraffes there, they got wildebeests. I've always wanted to see wildebeest migration. That would be amazing.
Especially if there's crocodiles involved.
Oh, there's just wildlife everywhere. Everywhere you look, it's amazing. And you see the pictures of the sunset over the vast savannas, and it's like Lion King. And it just makes me think of Lion King. Hakuna Matata, what a wonderful phrase. Our problem-free philosophy is travel.
Yes, it is.
But anyways, it just will be a dream come true to go there. And on top of the really cool wildlife, they have really cool culture, right?
Yeah.
The Maasai people, there's a way to actually go and hang out with the Maasai people, which is amazing. And like, they're one of the only like tribes that still have a lot of their historical roots left. They still have a lot of their same cultural rituals and everything. So that would be amazing to see. And I'd like to know what kind of stuff they eat, because I want to eat like a Maasai person.
Yeah, whatever it is that gives them the energy and calf muscles to jump like that has got to be amazing. They used to actually hunt lions with spears, which I think is super amazing. But what I think is even more amazing is now they're like one of the main people who protect the lions and all the other animals. And as we evolve as a species, it's better to go from something that may not have been the best for the environment to something that is better for the environment. But also, it's in the shadow of Kilimanjaro, right? And this is going to be the highest point we ever get to.
Yeah.
And you have to hike up there.
Oh, you have to.
Hiking up there costs like $8,000. Okay?
But I mean, you have to do it.
And one of the things that I really like there is that this is the area where Jane Goodall went and did a lot of her work, was in Tanzania.
Right.
And I actually got, when I was a graduate student at the University of Central Florida, we got to go to a rescue for chimps, and they actually had baby chimps and baby orangutans. And we got to actually feed them while she told us stories about the wild animals. I like the orangutan. I guess he was just so cute. So ugly, he was cute. So I got to do the orangutan, which was super cool, and everybody else chose chimpanzees. I could see the endearing thing of the chimpanzees.
Right.
But baby orangutans are the ugliest, cutest things ever.
Ugliest, cutest things ever.
Yep, and so I'm really looking forward to that.
Absolutely.
It's not scheduled again.
Yeah.
We'll probably have to wait till we're a little bit more famous and then get somebody to sponsor us for that one. Or we'll just have to budget really, really well. Next one is scheduled.
Iguazu Falls looks incredible. For the nature aspect of it, you really can't get much more beautiful. I mean, you got the waterfalls that are amazing. You got the rainforest that's amazing. You got all these different tropical birds and animals, and it's really awesome.
Right, especially there's like 132 waterfalls, so it's not like in Niagara Falls where there's 2, or if you define that one that comes off, there's 3.
Right.
There's 132 falls. The most beautiful one seems to be the one they call the Devil's Throat, and you can actually take hikes to get better views of other different things,
right.
And it encompasses 2 different countries. So as the story goes, God wanted to marry this Aborigine girl named Napi. And Napi must have been really beautiful if God wanted to marry her, but she was in love with another young man from the tribe. And so when God found out, he was like, dude, this crap isn't happening, and he just like split the earth so that they couldn't get together. I think that's one of the best stories for why there's a waterfall. We can only really stay away from the archaeology so long with this list.
Right.
And so from Iguazu, which is going to be amazing, we are off to a place I've actually been like 40 miles from, but never made it. I'm kind of ashamed of that if we're telling the truth. But we're headed off to Ayutthaya. And this place is amazing. But I know you're itching to talk about food again, and this is like, I love Thai food. Thai food is amazing.
Thai food is incredible, and Ayutthaya actually used to be the capital of Siam, and that's kind of where Thai food like really originated, right? So like this is like the home of Thai food, and I love Thai food. I love most food, but Thai food is definitely has a special place in my stomach. And I am really excited to try Thai food from where it originated.
I can tell you it's wonderful. If you have soup for breakfast, thank you rich Siamese people, because really the rich Siamese people, apparently they traded for all of the ingredients that they didn't have already, and they melded all these together, and now we, because of the time we live in, we get to eat all the rich portions of it, and it's like $1.50 to eat what the really rich Siamese used to have. So I'm really looking forward to that. Also, the ruins are amazing.
Oh yeah.
One of the cool things is when the Burmese people raided, which ended the old Siamese dynasty, ended when the Burmese came in. And they destroyed some of the temples, but not a lot of the temples. But one of the things they did was they cut off the heads of a lot of the Buddhists because they thought it took away their power. Which is kind of sad. You see all these headless Buddhas, but in the rest of Thailand, they all got their heads for the most part. So, but one of the things that happened with that is one of the heads got displaced over here by a wall.
Yeah.
And the thing that it did was make the thing that I think of when I think of Ayutthaya. I don't even think about the ruins. I think about that Buddha head that's down stuck in the tree.
Oh, that's from Ayutthaya?
Yeah,
I see it all over Instagram. It looks really cool.
And everybody does it wrong.
Yeah?
Yeah, you want to learn something?
Absolutely.
Okay, everybody wants to learn something, I think. So, if you take a picture with a Buddha, and you don't want like all the Buddhists to think you're just like a scuzz bucket, you have to get your head below the Buddha, which is harder for you than it is for me, but only by a few inches, guys. So with the one that's laying down on the ground, you have to like get yourself all down here and get your head below it and take a picture. But it's always good to be respectful of places and the people that are there. Another thing I learned about Thailand, which I already kind of knew, but I saw in action, was they will legitimately tell you, if you're dressed wrong, don't come into Wat, baby, because they ain't gonna let you in there. You better get wrapped up, dress moderately conservatively. If you have a tattoo of the Buddha, or you wear one of those Buddha shirts that they still sell all over there, you aren't going in.
Yeah.
So be respectful when you're doing this. It's not all about the picture. A lot of these people are actually there and they're worshiping, and that can be really surreal. I know we had some experiences with that in some other cultures, and it can enrich you even if you don't have your same belief system. And from Ayutthaya, we're off to Cappadocia.
Oh, Cappadocia. Oh man, guys, I love Cappadocia. Honestly, if I redid my bucket list, it'd probably be a little bit higher. I'm not even sure if it would make the top 10, but it'd be really close because Cappadocia is just amazing, right? It is gorgeous. It's the place where they have all the hot air balloons that go up into the sky, and they have these really cool rock formations that they call fairy chimneys, and they have these little caves in them. And you could go there and you can actually stay in one of these caves, and it's got cool history, and it's got cool nature, and it's romantic. It's just awesome. I love everything about Cappadocia. What do you like about Cappadocia?
No, there's not a lot not to like about Cappadocia. The ballooning looks amazing.
Okay.
It's usually apparently like $300 to $500 a person.
Right.
But we actually have it scheduled in about a year and a half, right after Santorini, as a matter of fact, same trip. And right now it's cheap. So depending on what happens with the whole way that the world is and the lack of traveling, you can actually get it as cheap as $150 right now. So if you can rush out there, everything's pretty cheap right now.
I saw like the peak of COVID. There were some of them that were under $75
Yeah, that's
for these
ridiculous.
sunrise hot air balloon rides. Unfortunately, they are going back up. I mean, unfortunately, it's great for their tourism.
Yeah, no.
But I would love to go on a hot air balloon ride in Cappadocia for under $100.
And you're exponentially doing more for them if you're traveling when less people are traveling. That's why we do shoulder seasons a lot. It's why we decided we had enough with this COVID garbage and we started traveling again 6 months ago, because you can be safe. Sometimes they have to stick Q-tips all the way up into your brain. But you'll make it back and all these things, and really there's not a lot of places that are worse than certain places in America for numbers. So everybody who's afraid to travel, go and take advantage of this. My father-in-law just got back from Athens, where we will be in 5 weeks.
Yeah.
And he said he had it to himself, so hopefully we'll have it to ourselves. That'll make for better footage for you guys too.
That'd be awesome.
And go for a horseback ride. Those are nice too. It actually was named after horses.
Yeah, Cappadocia actually means the land of wild horses. So the horse rides can be pretty expensive. There's a lot of things that can be pretty expensive with Cappadocia, but I feel like it's something you have to do, right? You have to go on the sunrise hot air balloon, and then you have to go and see the museums of the cave churches.
There was like 300 cave churches, and you can stay in some of them. But Cappadocia looks like a really cool place. I'm glad that one's scheduled, and I'm looking forward to going there. The girls are going to that too.
Speaking of rock formations and cool history and culture, our next stop is Petra. And I know you're super excited for this.
Petra's really high on my list.
Yeah, it's very high on your list.
Yes, and it is known as the Lost City.
Okay.
And there's like a bunch of like 800 royal tombs there of mostly the Nabatean people. The Nabatean people were the apex civilization for there. It's still occupied today, but the apex civilization got there, and it's like in the middle of a desert. And so you're like, okay, well, what is there to drink? And the Bedouins today, they're almost always drinking, milk from their livestock.
Right.
But then they actually have all these, this is what I'm loving. The Maya did this in a lot of areas too, and because I studied agriculture, I was really into the way that they'd funnel water, and they'd use all like the lines of the land, and they'd carve little troughs into it. And the Nabateans did this, and that's really during the whole silk trade. The Nabateans became really powerful that way. Plus, my boy Indiana Jones was there, and there were a lot of more booby traps at that time apparently, but it does look like it's really amazing, and the view is going to be awesome. What is Petra for you, buddy?
So you mentioned that there are still some people that live there, the Bedouins, and that's what I'm most excited about, because you can actually stay with the Bedouins. And the Bedouins, what I've heard, are really nice and they're cool, and then you can ride camels, which is awesome, and you're in the middle of the desert. It's really awesome to see how these people can live in the desert. It reminds me of the Star Wars characters with the funny little masks.
That's nice.
And I think it's really cool that we're so used to electricity and running water and all these luxuries that we take advantage of. It's cool to see cultures that don't have that, and that they still live a good life and a happy life. They're still happy. They're still accepting of others. It's really cool, and I can't wait to see that culture for myself.
It's a really easy way to be on keto too, because they eat almost all meat, and it's usually cooked over dung.
Lovely.
And then we're going to go to some more temples. And so for our next one, we've got Brendon, which is on the beautiful island of Java. And there's a lot of cool things in Java, but Brendon is the one that made both of our lists. Again, it's a bunch of large temples. These are Hindu temples, and they're called Kandi, or maybe Candy, which would be a sweeter name, I think. But they were all built in this area, and they're kind of Khmer-ish. They're a little Ayutthaya-ish.
Right.
But to me, and I think to you, because we have a bunch of other bucket list things in that general area, it's about where it is more than just that one specific place.
Brendon looks awesome, and it's got really cool history, but it's also got really cool culture, right? The Javanese people are known for being extremely nice.
Extremely nice, they can't say no. They have to hint that they don't want to do it.
Right. And there's actually they have to learn to be extremely nice, right? It's part of them growing. And there's actually a term, I don't remember what it is, I'll put it up here, but it is for these children that haven't learned to be extremely nice yet. So that it essentially means not Javanese yet. So it is so important to their culture that people and children who do not know how to be nice, or who aren't very nice, aren't even really considered Javanese.
Right, if you're a fighter,
that's
you're
really
not allowed.
interesting. Yeah.
You need to move to Bali.
Yeah.
Or Sumatra. You're never going to be Javanese.
No. You don't just fail kindergarten. You're just not Javanese.
Yeah. Sorry.
Sorry.
See you later, buddy. But not all of us can be Javanese.
No.
I think when we go, we're only going for 6 days. So I believe this is going to be one of those ones, kind of like Chichen Itza, where maybe we kind of partially check it off, but say, hey, we're going back.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's not a lot of places we like to go back, but I got to tell you, that place looks amazing. And there's lots of Toyota Land Cruisers there, so I like that. I might buy one while I'm there, I think.
Maybe.
We'll see. I've got this dream of buying like a Land Cruiser somewhere and a Discovery in Italy and all these things. So, but it's always good to dream. Chase after your dreams.
Yep.
And every once in a while they'll take you to a cruise in Alaska. This has always been something really important to my family, is to go on this cruise to Alaska. And I don't always travel the same way as my family. You guys will learn I don't travel the same way as a lot of people. I think I travel the best way because that's just who I am. But we all wanted to go on a cruise to Alaska, and we got to do that like 3 years ago. And what a trip.
It was just so cool that everybody wanted to do that. We had your parents, we had your brother and his family,
Right.
and obviously Victoria and us, and just like everybody. And then you put all of that together with the beautiful glaciers that you're passing by,
Right.
and cruise food.
Right, cruise food is good.
Love
Especially-
cruise food.
I don't like the buffets, which means that the new cruise thing doesn't really offend me that much because I was always letting them serve me anyway. So
Right.
I do love cruise food, and I actually kind of like cruises. I just choose to do something more immersive now than that. Speaking of immersive, I do have this tradition where I would swim at the furthest north and the furthest south and the furthest east and the
Yeah.
furthest west. And I kept that up all the way through Jacques Cartier, which is this beautiful national park north of Quebec. But when we got to the Mendenhall Glacier, I got about to my ankle, and all I could think of is the whole I was in the pool scene. Could you imagine? It's all
I was in the pool!
it was too cold. I couldn't do it.
No,
Wasn't
no.
sure I was going to live through it.
Yeah,
so-
you were crazy to even try to put your foot in there.
was
Nah,
gorgeous.
not for me.
And that waterfall coming down the side was really cool.
it was really cool.
A little bit sad too because the waterfall wasn't there like 20 years ago, and
Right.
it's melting back. So if you can get to Alaska, do it sooner rather than later, just for your own edification. And you can do it off of a cruise, but all it really did was it inspired me to put it onto the plan for 2026.
Yeah, really cool trip. Definitely recommend it. Glad we got to do it, and
And it was a big trip too because we went to Seattle and we went to North Cascades and we went to Yellowstone and we went to
It
all
was
these
amazing.
different places, and that worked out really well. One of the first like big road trips per se that we had done since when you were a little kid. So it was nice to do that too.
yeah.
Now we kind of foreshadowed our next one in a really cool way last week. All right, Pompeii and Herculaneum. Check and check, right?
Yep.
I got 2 checks down there. And the way I did it the second time was super amazing. We just got back from this, 4 months ago?
Yeah, about 4 months
About
ago.
4 months ago. He didn't get to go to this part of it. He got to go to some other really amazing things.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't feel too bad for him. I took my friend Coach there. I believe that either next week or the following week, we're going to do a nice introduction to Coach and to why it was important to take him on his dream vacation. But Pompeii and Herculaneum, all on their own, are just amazing. The art, go to Naples Museum, go to both Pompeii and Herculaneum.
Yeah, you gotta go to both.
Some good time there.
You gotta go to both, but let's say you have a crazy time constraint. It's just a little stopover. You don't have enough time to experience both of them. Pompeii or Herculaneum? Which was your favorite?
I gotta go Herc.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, Pompeii is amazing, and Pompeii was actually higher on my bucket list because that's the one you know more about, right?
Right.
That they show the casts of the people that were getting ready for the volcano, right? And that's the one you hear about.
Yeah, those are cool, but there's only 3 of them that you can see without glass everywhere making glares and stuff like that.
Yeah, it wasn't as cool as I thought it was gonna be in that respect. But Pompeii was still really awesome.
It was.
But Herculaneum was better preserved because it wasn't covered in lava, it was just covered in ash.
Right, and I could talk about this for like hours.
Yeah.
Go there. We actually have a blog of using Sorrento to go to a lot of really great places in that area. You should read it if you're going to Italy, because that's Sorrento as a base to go places like Pompeii and Capri and Amalfi Coast. That really is going to be valuable for you guys, I guarantee it. But make Pompeii and Herculaneum on your bucket list, even if you're not a history nerd like we are. It is super awesome, and you get Italian food and Italian people, and it's just a wonderful environment.